Just a monument. What? What? I can't hear you. Okay, shh. Welcome to Nonument, a performative approach to Buzludzha. We hope you had a good trip and that the bumpy road was not too bumpy. Actually there, the performance has already started, as you might have guessed.
Why did we come to this remote place in the center of...
In the center of what?
Bulgaria?
But the cosmos has no center. And this elegant and monstrous construction in front of us, doesn't it come from outer space? Having landed on this peak, is it not waiting for the right moment to set off again?
Look at the monument. You know it. You've heard of it. Some say it looks like a wreath surrounded by laurels and a flagpole.
What does it remind you of?
We will see if this comes to be.
What will its future be?
Look to the sky.
A group gathered in the parking lot of Buzludzha, the parking lot where the buses stopped, with the people that wanted to visit the building. A guided tour of the House of Communism, as they called it. The people got out. During their trip, they had already seen the monument's silhouette architecture, a man-made peak pointing into the sky. Now it had become concrete.
We do not know where the dreams that enabled the existence of this monument came from, but we would like to invite you to explore these dreams.
Start walking slowly towards the monument, as if hesitating. Consciously, one step after the other. Every step is a kind of decision. Forward, not backward. Forward, not backward. Coming closer to this overdetermined peak.
What will happen to us if we come closer? Will we become part of the monument and its ideology?
The group started moving.
Forward, not backward.
And stops.
Stop.
Nonument. First movement. A decision.
Should you use the stairs to the right or the stairs to the left?
Or take the path in the middle?
Whatever these particular people decide, another decision is necessary.
Look at the stairs. Left or right? What is right? What is left?
Decide which way you would like to take and move on.
Do not go together. Walk the stairs one after the other.
Or walk on the grass, one step after the other.
Watch each other. Consider why they have made that decision.
Towards the house of the Communist Party.
Towards this ruin of what was supposed to be a house of communism? Could something like the dream of a thing called communism, living in solidarity and in each other's care and without competition, could something like this be contained in a house? Or doesn't something like communism, like other isms, already when it becomes an ism, become a ruin? Ruinism?
Straighten up while walking. Relax your shoulders. Inhale deeply.
But we don't know what the right attitude is to approach this building. We are here to find out, proposing attitudes, positions, gestures.
When you arrive at the top of the stairs, walk straight till you reach the 4 broad stairs. Please disperse on the 4 broad stairs that lead down to the monument.
The group slowly approaches the temple-like building that is comprised of 3 forms: the pillar, the circle, and the wall, like the one they are now climbing up, one by one.
3 structures, united in the architecture of Buzludzha: the tower, the square, and the border.
3 structures of power: the vertical, the horizontal, and the division.
The hierarchy, the network, and the nation.
What structure could disperse these structures' power? Queer to the vertical erection, subversive to the horizontal networks, and transgressions of the border, dissolving all nations. Disperse on the 4 broad stairs. The 4 stairs are like an arena, doubling in a way the arena of the inside.
Find a spot on the stairs that you like, a spot that you could think of as your spot, in relation to the positions the others took.
Is it the first step, the second, or the third step, or the 4th step? Did you choose to stand more in the middle or more to the side? What would be the right position? What is the left position to the monument? Please decide your position on the steps now.
Nonument. Second movement. Rather, not a movement.
Look at each other.
A dispersed constellation of people. They did not gather. They instead are rather widespread over the steps, like some strange stars of a distant irregular galaxy.
Put your hands in your pockets if you have them.
Stand totally casually and look at the monument.
With this gesture, they are reminiscent of the dancer and choreographer Erdem Gündüz. On June 17, 2013, at 6 p.m. on Taksim Square, he just stood motionless. He looked at the Atatürk Cultural Center. No gatherings were allowed at the time to prohibit further protests against the demolition of the Gezi Park. Demonstrations were forbidden, as was assembling or gathering, but it was not forbidden to stand around. Gündüz looked at the empty cultural center that was sometimes decorated with banners and posters during the protests. At that time, the future of the cultural center was unclear. We don't know what Erdem Gündüz was thinking, but perhaps he was imagining various possible futures for this important building that once had promised an open culture for everyone.
While he was standing there, others mimicked his gesture.
Many individuals stood together, individually, not as a crowd or a mass. As Judith Butler observed,
they were standing as single individuals, but they were all standing, silent and motionless, as single individuals, evading the standard idea of an assembly, yet producing another one in its place. They technically obeyed the law, forbidding groups from assembling and moving by standing separately and saying nothing. This became an articulate yet wordless demonstration.
Listen to Erdem Gündüz as he explains his performance.
The actual purpose was to protest the freedom, human rights, and democracy in Turkey. That first individual act of defiance has inspired a new tactic by protesters. He arrived at a time when people at a time without hope.
In a time without hope, Erdem Gündüz appears, standing silently.
It seemed that time itself had stopped, as if time could be interrupted for a moment.
He did not stand at attention like a soldier, whose body serves the nation, like at the inauguration of a sacrificial space.
Да опиша историческата поляна, празнична, оживена. От ранните часове на утрото събратия ветерани на партията, партийни и държавни ръководители, работници, трудещи се селяни, военни, комсомолци, пионери, представители на всички поколения на партията, представители на всички слоеве на народа. Огласяна поляна от песен от българска комунистическа песен. За този концерт Бузлуджа е избрала най-хубавия, най-слънчев ден на август.
We do not know what these people thought while they were standing there, watching the monument every moment. Disrenism. But they were there, frozen in time, freezing time, establishing a different time than the eternity of sacrifice that the monument proposed in the perspective of the Communist Party.
But who is defining what this ruin could become? What could its pillar become? What could this arena possibly become?
Walk slowly down the 4 stairs and disperse on the square below these first 4 steps.
Nonument. Third movement. Meet the angel of history.
Stop. Before we go on, we would like you to embody another performance by a single person. Please close your eyes. Turn around, as much as you think is necessary in order to find a new perspective. Open your eyes.
1976. The Prague artist Jiří Kovanda, standing on Wenceslas Square, spread out his arms at the height of his shoulders. His hands were suspended. They didn't impede anyone, and they weren't reminiscent of Jesus on the cross. The arms were just spread out, his hands hanging at the height of his shoulders.
Multiply his gesture.
We do not know how long Kovanda held this gesture.
But we know that it was 1976, 8 years after tanks came into the city of Prague to end what was called the Prague Spring.
What did Kovanda's gesture mean? Did it mean anything? Kovanda's gesture is a means without an end. He made a difference, a simultaneous vertical, standing, and horizontal, with spread arms, transgression of everyday limits. Walk slowly, with spread arms over the square. pass each other, look at each other.
With his gesture, Kovanda could see history differently, like Walter Benjamin's Angel of History.
Where we perceive a chain of events, the angel of history sees one single catastrophe which keeps piling wreckage upon wreckage.
Stop. Look at Buzludzha.
The angel would like to stay, awaken the dead, and make whole what has been smashed.
Walk on. Slowly, closer to Buzludzha, but only till the first step of the next 4 steps. The second repetition of the arena. Gather on the highest step. Your arms still outspread.
But the storm has got caught in his wings with such violence that the angel can no longer close them. The storm irresistibly propels him into the future, to which his back is turned, while the pile of debris before him grows skyward. The storm is what we call progress.
Come closer on the top of the 4 stairs. Create a long chain. Lay your palms on the shoulders of your neighbor. If there are too many for one row, form more rows.
Buzludzha has been an expression of faith in absolute progress, to rule over the first nature on the windy peak of a mountain.
Move 1 step down, as a chain.
And now countless storms get caught in the ruin, transforming the architecture in a pile of debris.
Wreckage upon wreckage.
Move down another step, collective rows. Take care of each other.
What has been whole is now smashed.
Another step down.
The pile of debris before him grows skyward.
Go down the last step.
And turn yourself loose. Run over the square, crisscross in each direction, like you've been freed. Find new ways. But take care of each other and stay in the square.
Stop.
Nonument, 4th movement. Stumble in.
We are still testing attitudes appropriate to come closer to Buzludzha, and all the means it provides on this peak.
Perhaps we should reenact potknięcie, which means stumble.
Academia Ruchu, the Academy of Movement, performed Stumble in 1977 in several Polish cities. The artists of his group mixed with the crowd and tripped over them for no obvious reasons.
But how to stumble?
Walk slowly. Let the left foot get stuck on the lower right leg
The left foot gets stuck on the lower right leg and pulls the whole body along till you stumble forward, but be careful. Catch your footing in time.
Try again. The left foot meets the lower right leg. You fall forward and find your balance again.
And again. Stumble all over the place. Meet each other while stumbling.
A stumbling community, for the way forward is never straight. They let Buzludzha appear as a kind of stumbling block, built in the landscape, not as a silhouette of architecture, but as something to stumble across.
At the same time, the structure of the architecture itself proposes a certain movement that we have to work through before we can come closer.
Stop.
Nonument, fifth movement. A trip to the stars becomes a star strip.
Again, just by standing, you repeat the gesture of the tower with the red star pointing to the sky.
Standing as a group in this dispersed, coincidental constellation, everyone is becoming a star.
Look at the ground.
The cobblestones are laid out in circles. The many circles on the square are repeating the structure of the building.
Follow the lines of the circles formed by the cobblestones.
Ignore the squares that contain the circles. Transgress their borders.
Walk in circles over the square.
Like in the universe, the stars are constantly moving.
What an idea it was to think of the stars as immovable. A red star always shining in the same spot, visible not for the whole universe, but just for one nation.
Circle through space.
Everyone is moving on their own, but everyone is connected.
Make your radius larger.
While circling, look at one another when you meet.
I find myself, if I find myself at all, constituted and dispossessed by the perspective of others. So, for political action, I must appear to others in ways I cannot know, and in this way, my body is established by perspectives that I cannot inhabit, but that, surely, inhabit me.
The gravity of the others grows.
Move more slowly. Pass the others more closely.
The gravity grows.
Circle around another person.
Circle around each other. Look at each other.
This action, this performative exercise, happens only between bodies.
Circle faster around each other. Become faster. Faster. And release yourself from gravitation. Run through space like a comet. Slow down again. Circling again around a new invisible center.
The action emerges from the between.
Slower. The gravity of others is growing. Circle around another person. Circle around each other. Look at each other.
The between, a spatial figure for a relation that both binds and differentiates.
Begin to circle faster around each other. Become faster. Faster. And release yourself from gravitation. Jump through space. No gravity at all. You become light, like stardust, swirling through space. Become slower again. Gravity grows. Slower. Circle a third time around another body in space. Look at each other.
These are not the bodies organized by a party. They are not lined up as if they were locked up, immovable, stiff, inflexible, watching the monument in admiration. No, they look at each other. This seems to be a different party.
Get closer to the other person. Take both wrists of the other.
What are they doing now?
Hold tight while circling. Circle faster around a central point.
Tighten your grip. Do you trust each other?
Now let yourself fall deeper into the circling around this central point. Increase your speed, but be careful not to bump into others. You could even look up to the sky.
Everything is circling around you.
Slow down again. Slower. And release each other into the space. Move carefully through space.
As if you have landed on another planet, where you do not know if the surface is solid. Careful. At any moment the ground could open and you could fall into an abyss in front of Buzludzha.
Getting closer to Buzludzha seems to be like this. There is no guarantee that suddenly an abyss won't open with the next step to pull you down to somewhere you never wanted to be.
We hesitated, we took decisions, we waited, we produced gestures with no means to an end. We stumbled and we became similar to the stars. What do you think? Are we prepared to move closer to the peak?
To launch this stranded spaceship, perhaps. But before we take the steps, we have to domesticate Scylla and Charybdis.
Nonument, sixth movement, two scary rocks.
Decide to which of the ruined statues with their rusty bars you would like to go.
Scylla or Charybdis?
walk to Scylla or Charybdis?
Scylla and Charybdis are firstly domesticated by caressing them.
Look over their structure. Feel their form. Imagine who they were a long time ago. Feel the rough surface, the many bruises.
Scylla and Charybdis are secondly domesticated by speaking to them loudly.
Say whatever comes to your mind that they could have been.
Say whatever comes to your mind that they should have been.
Say whatever comes to your mind that they should become.
Repeat what you said louder. The bars have no ears.
Even louder.
Scylla and Charybdis are thirdly domesticated by showing them what they could have been. A mimesis without a model.
Think of a gesture, whatever comes to your mind, that the monument could have been. We will count to 3. Then throw yourself into this gesture. What it could have been.
1, 2, 3. Watch the others and change your posture if you think it could work better.
Relax. Close your eyes. Think of a gesture. Whatever comes to your mind that the monument should have been. We will count to 3. Then throw yourself into this gesture. What it should have been.
1, 2, 3. Watch the others and change your posture if you think it could work better.
Relax. Close your eyes again. Think of a gesture, whatever comes to your mind, that the monument should become. We will count to 3. Then throw yourself into this gesture. What it should become.
1, 2, 3.
Find a gesture that this statue should become.
A collective gesture.
Watch the others and change your posture if you think it could work better.
Become a monument yourself, next to Scylla and Charybdis.
The stones are tamed. They understood that the people understood that they are something living. They understood that the people could become like them, a certain, strange similarity that connects everything in the world. Now, they let the people pass by them.
Now we are ready to approach the stairs.
On the right and on the left, behind Scylla and Charybdis, next to the steps, there are boxes with ribbons, with many different colors, fabrics, and textures.
Choose 2 different ribbons, 2 colors.
Don't think too long about it.
Put them away, in your pocket, around your wrists, or over your shoulder.
Does everyone have 2 ribbons?
Then the time has come.
Nonument, 7th movement, Stairway to Buzludzha.
What would be the right attitude to walk these steps?
Should we work through different attitudes?
First, we should organize ourselves. Please, stand next to each other on the steps. Everyone on their own stone.
The steps organize us into rows. The people line up in rows just because the steps propose it. The architecture of the broad steps suggests lining up, like rows of course lines.
Adjust the distances between each other.
So again, what would be the proper attitude to walk these steps?
Solemn, like a priest in front of a temple.
Pace by pace, dignified.
Walk like this.
Towards the holy grail of post-Soviet ruins,
Or as the party said,
the holy national place.
Hands held before you, open, as if holding a bowl or a dish.
the peak of Buzludzha has been seen as a place of sacrifice. The sacrifice that seems to be necessary to constitute a nation. Could we imagine a nation without a sacrifice? A world without sacrifices? Without places made to celebrate sacrifices?
Do we have to kneel down?
Let's try. As Blaise Pascal said,
Kneel down and move your lips as if you pray, and you will start to believe.
Please stop. Kneel down on the next step. Move your lips as if you are praying.
get up again. Walk 3 steps. Kneel down again. Move your lips. In the Catholic Church, which Pascal belonged to before he left it, they are also asking the believers to synchronize their posture.
Look at the people next to you. Try to adopt their posture.
What is the position of their hands,
The position of their head,
of their shoulders, of their back?
get up again. Take 3 steps. Kneel down again. Synchronize with your neighbors.
Louis Althusser, quoting Pascal, proposed that subjects are not produced by sacrifice, but produced by practice. Ideology is not a matter of belief, but of repetitive practice.
Is this the right attitude to encounter Buzludzha?
Look up. Bow and touch the step with your forehead.
Get up again.
Was this the right attitude?
Or would it be more appropriate to walk like the many workers, one of the 6,000 who worked here?
Joyous and fresh as the Dimitar Blagoev Women's Brigade on the propaganda photos.
Or rather exhausted, painfully setting one step after the other, not knowing how to manage to reach the peak.
But at the same time trying not to show this, since you feel observed?
Hard to imagine how they did it.
They knew that some died because of the working conditions. They were here in the wind, every day from morning till evening. Most of them, Turks and Roma, were forced to work for very low wages.
How they must have walked, unphotographed, up the peak every morning, before there were even steps.
I think we have to be even more hesitant.
Please stop. Turn around.
Look over the landscape. The silhouetted architecture of our time on the peaks of the other mountains.
Please walk carefully and slowly, backwards.
The overdetermined landscape, the trees, the grass, the rocks do not know who died here, what was founded, and what nation they belonged to.
Stop. Look at the sky. Bend back till you see Buzludzha.
It took this enterprise 8 long years to land before it settled.
Start walking slowly, carefully, backwards towards this derelict spaceship.
Find again a common rhythm. Act similar, but not identical. Synchronized, but not to the second. Be with each other. Be a singular plural.
Turn around. Take your ribbons, one in each hand, and hold them in the air. Walk on, like children, playful, cheerful, gay.
Doesn't Buzludzha propose play? To play with hierarchies, networks and borders?
Nonument, 8 movement, preparing the spaceship.
If you decided to take the left stairs, go to the left letters, left of the entrance, to the International.
If you decided to take the right stairs, go to the right letters, right of the entrance, to the Workers' Song.
If you decided to take the middle, you stay at the entrance.
They are standing in front of Buzludzha. No one spilled water on the floor like 38 years ago. No one cut the ribbon. But now they are preparing the spaceship to set off again.
Not each ribbon on one hook.
4 more hooks for concrete letters. Now, hooks for broken dreams and ruined hopes.
Ruinism.
What was your dream?
Dreamism.
What was your hope for another world?
Hopeism.
Take the end of the ribbons in each hand and walk slowly backwards.
Tighten the ribbons. Raise your hands over your head. And let them loose.
If you stand in front of the International, turn right and start to walk to the right side of the building.
If you stand in front of the Workers' Song, turn left and start to walk to the left side of the building.
If you stand in front of the entrance, you now have to decide on which side of the building you would like to walk.
Left or right. There is no middle of the road.
Greet each other when you meet.
Stumble if you like.
Circle shortly around each other if you like.
Walk around the building.
Nonument, 9th movement. Listening to the unheard sound waves.
Walk carefully around the building. Look high once and again, but watch your step.
Stones like rubble make the ground uneven, but most are not impressed by this barrier.
How does the monument sound inside?
How does the concrete resonate? What could it tell us these days?
Come closer to the wall. Find a place where you can listen. Lean on the wall with your back.
Lean the back of your head against the wall.
Now put your left ear close to the wall.
Listen closely.
I know I am ruined. The ruin that is every nation, every attempt to limit the notion of humanity, the ruin to limit solidarity. But I do not know what I have done wrong. My concrete knows all truth is concrete, but something must have been false, too concrete, too fixed, too limited even on the peak. I am stuck. I want to leave. I am not a tombstone. I am a spaceship. Not a battleship, but a starship. Not of one star, of all stars, even of stardust. Not for one nation, for the whole universe. All of the 2 trillion galaxies with their countless stars that radiate constantly without hope in the cold vacuum, spending their weak light in every direction. Their constellations, their weak light propose a silently different watching their movements, their constellations, their unlikely associations.
Nonument. 10th movement. Countdown.
Start slowly moving as close to the wall as possible. To the back of the building. Walk to the back of the building, close to the wall.
They move on. They seem to have a mission. Nothing seems to be able to stop them. Wreckage upon wreckage.
Walk around the corner.
Close to the concrete.
And gather between the two wings of the monument.
Turn your back to the monument. Watch the landscape.
The overdetermined landscape. The trees, the grass, the rocks do not know who died here, what was founded, and what nation they belonged to. They forgot the fought battles. They don't care about sacrifice.
Look at the invisible stars, outshined by the one, the red star, the sun.
Are you ready to take off?
Take a deep, collective breath.
Collectives are not only able to blow up peaks, but are able to move mountains.
One more time. Take a deep, collective breath.
Count down loudly from 10 to 1.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just a moment.
Turn around.
If you are next to the wall, press against it with your palms.
If there are people standing in front of you, put your hands on their shoulders and transfer your power on them so that they can transmit your power to the first row.
Are you able to move mountains by pure will?
Close your eyes. Feel your power. The power of all the others. Concentrate.
Nonument. 11th movement. Ignition.
Count down again with short breaks from 10 to 1.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Nonument, 12th movement, and now just a monument.
No, I'm not surprised.
But we prepared well, didn't we?
We worked through ideologies, attitudes, and postures. We queered the established power structures. We installed ribbons for support and listened to the concrete. We are already here.
In space?
In space? We just have to read the constellation between the vertical, the horizontal beyond the borders of imagination.
The people standing at the back of the building, looking at each other. Was the vertical too strong, the horizontal too heavy to transgress the border of gravity? It's hard to estimate. Some seem to smile, looking at each other, in no way perplexed. This is their state of being, a singular constellation of stars, if not a stellar cluster. Where will they go? What will they do next?
Look at the building. Look at the sky.
Building.
How will they discuss the future of this moment? The moment when they tried to launch the starship Buzludzha, to transform it into something else, something unknown, something they never expected it could become, something uncommon that they may have in common with the concrete, the trees, the stars. They will not come closer than this, than now.
You listen to
Nonument, a performative approach to Buzludzha.
Thank you for coming,
For listening.
for performing.
The voices were
Biljana Petrinska,
Sava Dragunchev,
Irmena Chichikova,
Alexander Mitrev as Buzludzha.
with the music by
Emilian Gacu.
text, development and production by Ligne and Stefan Sterer.
We would like to invite you for a drink and an informal discussion in front of the building.